Coffee on Chaos Managed. Let's talk.
All right. So we're continuing on with talking about our VA benefits. And today we're moving into talking about community care, what it is, and how it actually works.
And before we dive into that, we're going to give you our lovely little disclaimer again, because we're not attorneys.
No.
We're not paid anything. We're just
counselors, consultants, advisors.
We're just wives of veterans ourselves.
I'd say we're smart, Alex, but no.
Well, kind of.
All right.
But yeah, that's what the deal is.
We're just sharing information because we're running down this rabbit hole ourselves.
That's exactly what it is. So did you know that you might not have to go to the VA for all of your care, even if you're enrolled in VA healthcare?
And this is one of the things that I was not aware of when my husband first got onto the VA healthcare.
We weren't either, because nobody told us.
No, and
we just didn't know.
See, and this is part of my little pet peeve, is the fact that you as the individual, you're the one that has to do all the digging up of this information.
Yeah, you got to do the legwork.
The VA really isn't forthright with a lot of things. And I don't know if going to the VSO is more helpful. I have not personally gone to one to see whether or not you could sit down and say, this is, just here's my whole situation. What should I or could I and can I do? If they're going to go through and say, okay, this is what you do and this is what's available. I don't know.
We haven't gotten that far. We are working with a VSO.
We're going to find out for part of it.
Yeah, we'll find out for some of that. But they did give us direction and told us what they needed. So now I'm in the gathering phase.
Oh, a gathering we shall go.
But a lot of veterans, they just don't realize that they may qualify to see doctors in their local community and still have it covered by the VA.
Well, that's just it, because let's face it, the VA doesn't necessarily have all of the specialists in your local area. For instance, when we were living over in Lake Charles, the VA clinic that we had to go to, for starters, was an hour and a half away from the house. That was the closest clinic. That wasn't even a hospital.
Wow.
The closest, my husband needed an osteo doctor, bone doctor kind of a thing. And the closest one that they had for the entire region was all the way over in Houston, 3 hours away.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and we weren't aware about community care. And unfortunately, we ended up paying for stuff out of pocket because what they were wanting to tell us to do wasn't going to fix the problem. But we didn't know.
Yeah.
Now we know better.
So today what we're going to do is we're going to break down the VA community care, what it is, when you qualify, and how it actually works.
All right. So, what is community care? Well, the VA community care, it allows eligible veterans to receive health care from a non-VA provider. So it's not somebody that's directly working for the VA.
No, it's actually somebody in the local community.
Exactly. And it's paid for, or it's coordinated with the VA itself.
Yeah, the VA will work with you. Mm-hmm. So, the VA does that. It is VA healthcare. It's just not inside a VA facility.
Right. Because oftentimes they actually have contracted with external physicians, especially when you get into specialties.
Yes.
Because the VA just can't house every kind of doctor, and they try to hit particular ones, it seems. Mm-hmm. But if it's a situation where you have something going on and they don't have it, you can tell them, okay, I know I need this kind of care. For instance, like with chiropractic care, they don't have chiropractors.
Actually, they do.
Have they got some on?
Yes, but you have to we had to go to the VA hospital, the big facility. Okay. That's where we had to go. And it was like 2 hours away because it was a while to get there. And they did have somebody there. He called her Heavy Hands Helga.
Oh, great.
Yeah. She really wasn't the best, and he refuses to go back to a chiropractor
I don't
now.
blame him. But yeah, but you can say, this is the care that I know my doctor at the VA told me I need. We don't have anybody in the VA local. And I found Dr. whatever his name is, her name, that you'd like to be able to work with. And oftentimes they will give you the approval to go there for the care. And of course, what their approvals are, they have a certain amount of time, usually a 6 months span that you have the approval.
Yes, but an important clarification here. You can't just choose any doctor on your own and expect coverage. It must be approved and authorized by the VA first.
Right. That's the important part. The VA has to say yes, and they generally send you a document that says you have been approved for. So
when do you qualify? Common eligibility situations are if there's a long wait time, if you cannot get in to see somebody, if the VA cannot provide care within a certain time frame, that is an eligibility situation.
Right. Because oftentimes, you don't have time, and let's face it, a lot of times something comes up, you have symptoms, and as we get older, we tend to just go, it's just age. And then by the time,
it's not.
Well, exactly. And then you're in that pressure situation going, I can't wait 6 months to get in to see the VA doctor. So, and then the other thing on top of that, that's a big thing is distance. And we've kind of were mentioning that already.
That's true.
Because if you live really far away from the VA facility that is going to offer the service, and it's difficult to travel, you can request for community care so that you're closer.
I'm going to tell you, for us, the closest place where they could offer what it is that he needs is
5 hours.
Lake City, and it's like Gainesville.
City.
Sorry, Gainesville. It's like 5 hours away.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Well, that's what we ran into with Rick with the kidney thing.
That it's just ridiculous. And then, as we had talked before, if service is not available at the VA, so if they don't offer specific care that you need, then you can go that route.
And of course, it's about the best medical interest. So in some cases, your provider, they might determine that community care is just more appropriate than going to the VA itself.
Which, they do things that will make sense.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to do. And then they also look at continuity of care.
Right.
So if you have some sort of ongoing treatment that would be disruptive by switching to somebody else, the community care is available for that.
Right. I mean, it's just community care is kind of like it fills those spots that, like the gaps in the services that the VA itself can provide, but it's not there to replace what the VA has entirely.
Correct.
Okay, so let's look at some of this a little bit more.
Some of the things that we just kind of threw stuff out at people. We need a little deeper.
Rain in the spaghetti. Stop throwing spaghetti. Yeah. So, one of the things is like, what is the criteria for wait time in order to get community care access?
Yeah.
So they do have standards.
Yeah, they do. So we're talking like primary care, mental health, non-institutional extended care, 20 days. 20 days is the wait time. If you have to wait beyond 20 days, you can consider, asking community care. So if they can't offer you anything within a 20-day period, you can say, okay, I really need to see somebody sooner. I need this to go through community care, and then they'll start the process to get that approved.
But if you move into like specialty care, then it extends that it's a 28-day.
Yeah. And I think that is because it's a specialty care.
They have to give a little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
Because they don't have as many specialty care doctors as general practitioner.
Yeah. So, I mean, if the VA can't get you in within those timeframes, you may, and I'm going to use the word may, be eligible to be referred out to community care.
So, the distance criteria.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the other one.
You can't just say, oh, it's, 10 miles away. No, they don't care about that. It's, drive time, not the miles that come into play. Because let's face it, if you live in a congested city like Houston, it can take you 3 hours to go from South Houston to North Houston. So in that situation, you really would be saying, hey, that's a 3-hour drive for me one way.
Yeah.
You're going to make me stay overnight? Who's paying for that?
Well, but that makes sense, though, that is why that they don't go by miles.
Right.
Because something could be close, yet forever.
But where we live, that's more rural, something might be 50 miles away, but we don't have the traffic congestion that makes it a 4-hour drive.
Yeah.
So, that does definitely come in. So, 30 minutes versus 3 hours drive, 60 miles away versus.
Yeah. And the 30 minutes is the average drive time for primary care and mental health care.
Yeah.
They give you that 30 minutes.
Yeah. And then if you're more than a 60-minute average drive time for specialty care.
Mm-hmm. Which, that makes sense.
It does.
That makes sense. So, but just remember that it still needs VA approval and referral.
Stamp of yes.
Yeah. And I know we keep reiterating that,
but it's important because
it's very important.
Because sometimes people just think, oh, well, it's going to be more than a 3-hour drive, so I'll just go.
Let's go. Road trip.
Just go in somebody that's closer.
Not how it works. You still need the approval.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a peek at how this whole process works. And it basically breaks it into about 6 steps is what we figure.
5 or 6.
Something. Yeah, 5 or 6 steps, I think it is. Steps. Once you figure out that you can't use your VA local.
So step 1. You're going to start with the VA and you're going to talk to your provider or request care.
Yeah. And the second thing that you're going to look into is you're seeing that the VA is the one that's determining the eligibility. And they're going to base it, again, on wait time and distance or medical need criteria.
Yeah. And then we move on to step 3. And that is your authorization.
Oh, yes,
the VA sends the referral to a community provider. And this step is critical because no authorization means you risk being billed.
And paying for it 100% out of pocket unless you've got secondary insurance.
Yeah.
The fourth thing that you have to look at is appointment is being scheduled. Either the VA will schedule it for you, and they will sometimes do that. Not often.
Sometimes they do, yeah.
And usually if they do that, it would be more likely with somebody that they already have a commitment with.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be given instructions to go ahead and schedule your appointments. And then it's all on you. Personally, I like to schedule my own appointments.
Well, personally, I do too, because if you have other stuff going on.
But there are those times when you really do like it when the provider steps in, because oftentimes they can get you in an appointment quicker.
And that actually recently happened with us. We're using a community care provider, and we had something that was supposed to be scheduled because we have an appointment with them next week, and it was just not happening for me. And I called her back, and it was like, I'm so sorry. I hate to keep calling and bugging. And she said, I will take care of this. What are good times for you?
Yeah.
I told her what kind of works for us, and she called us back and she got us in.
Yeah.
So where they told us they couldn't get us in until like the 17th.
Well,
so
a professional office sometimes have a little bit more clout than we.
Yeah, they do. And then your final step is actually the care is provided.
Right.
You see a non-VA doctor, and that provider coordinates back with the VA so that everything ends up going smoothly.
All the billing and everything goes straight to the VA. You don't even see, you'll just get your little statements telling you that this is who you saw, what the procedures were, the charges, and how much you're responsible for it.
And you might not even get that, because sometimes we don't even get that.
Really?
Yeah.
I have stacks.
Wow.
And Social Security does the same thing when you go through Medicare.
Yes, they do.
You get the benefits.
Yes, they do.
Statement.
The EOB thing. Yeah. Let's talk about who pays.
This is what everybody wants to know.
Where confusion happens.
Yeah, most definitely, because a lot of times people,
Yep.
if you're used to traditional insurance, you're normally used to the fact that you're coughing up some coin somewhere along the line.
Yeah, something's happening somewhere. And that may be the fact.
It could happen.
That may be the fact because in certain circumstances, we've got that. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So if it is properly authorized, the VA pays.
Correct. And if it's not authorized, you're on the hook.
Yeah, you may be responsible.
Yeah.
Co-pays.
Mm-hmm.
They may still apply, and that really depends on your priority group.
And that was a previous video.
Yeah. So if you don't know which priority group is or what a priority group is, check out our episode where we actually broke all of that down for you.
Right. So it's out there to try to help you figure out how this all fits together. It's a big puzzle.
I think we're doing pretty good putting these puzzle pieces
we're trying.
together. So don't miss any of these episodes because they're really
because we might talk about things that we've already covered.
Yeah.
We try not to talk about things we haven't got to yet.
Well, yeah, we do. But sometimes things overlap, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Or we just have squirrels.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some common mistakes and frustrations that they bring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's start with the idea that going outside of the VA without approval. This is a no-no. You don't do that. The VA doesn't like it. I've never done it without speaking to somebody in advance for anything that we've had to have care for, because I didn't want to get the bill because
you don't want that problem.
Because normally when you're having to seek a physician for something, it's not just you cut your finger and it's really deep, need some stitches, that you might end up in the hole for $1,000 or something that would come out of pocket. What we've had has been things short of $100,000 in expense. So you don't want that one creeping up on you. So it's really, really, really important that you have approval.
Dot the I's,
And even if you're, if it's something that's emergent, you can still make that phone call and they give you the guidance that you need. Because we did that once too. And they said, no, this is what you need to do. And
a lot of times if it's something that's emergent, that's coming on that quickly, they'll direct you to go to
they'll tell you to go to your ER.
But you also have to realize if you go to the ER, you've got to call that number.
And I believe it's 72 hours that you have to report it so that they've got it and they start the workings with it.
I actually have that phone number in my phone.
I have the phone. I've got a file.
I've got a lot of phone numbers.
So, make sure you've got that approval before you go to just shooting into the doctor's office.
Yeah. The next thing is not understanding referral limits.
Yeah.
When they give you a referral, it usually lists out what is covered.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the kind of doctor you're going to, it could be anything from labs and x-rays to just a certain number of visits.
Yeah.
That's dependent upon coverage. So you need to know what your referral says.
Most times though, what I've encountered is the fact that the physicians, they're also getting that information from the VA as well. So they know what their limitations are and what they can and can't do. And if they need to do beyond, example, physical therapy, we're dealing with that now. The VA approved for so many visits. If it's determined by the therapist that you're not done yet, what the therapist then has to do is they go to the VA directly and they request more from the VA, time appointments and stuff like that. So, but you need to know what those limits are. And you also need to know that they're only for a certain length of time.
Yeah, usually I believe the referrals are 6 months.
I do believe so. And I think if it's like a chronic, that they will increase it if you're with the same provider, that they'll do a 12-month
I do know that providers will reach back out to the VA and say, hey, this is where we're at in the care. This is what's going on. We need an extension. So I do know that does happen. But again, you need to understand the referral times. You need to know what the coordination is.
Right.
And then assuming all care is covered automatically. Again, that goes back to that referral. You really need to know what is and is not covered.
Right. And it's just one of those things you have to read through all of it. And if there's ever any question, as to what they're telling you, there's generally a phone number on the document that you can call, and you can ask all the questions that you want. And if they can't answer those questions, they'll find somebody
Call
who
back.
can. What I would advise in that situation, though, is the fact, record, not necessarily vocal recording, but note down as you're talking to somebody.
Yeah, make your notes.
Who you called, when you
What
called,
time.
what day, exactly.
I listed
Who
all.
you spoke with, what you asked, what they told you. So that at least you've got something in writing, because it's so easy to forget, especially with emergent situations.
Yeah, most definitely.
So the other thing too is, let's be aware that there are communication gaps between the VA and the providers.
Yes.
You can't,
We're all human.
yeah, nothing's a perfect scenario.
There's not.
So, just be aware that things may not necessarily flow 100% smooth. So work with it.
Yeah, just learn to roll with it.
Yeah.
And, we just need to recognize that most of the issues with community care, they're not about eligibility. It's a communication issue.
Yeah.
It's usually
none of
about
it's
communication.
Yeah, none of it's done purposeful. That it's not against an individual. It's just something fell through the cracks.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we need tips.
We need yes, we do. We need tips on how to get through this without
how can we navigate
pulling
through
the
that
last few hairs out of my head that I own.
Well, the first thing is going to be to always confirm authorization.
And how do we confirm authorization?
Well, you should get a piece of paper that gives you the authorization. If you don't get that piece of paper, you make phone calls.
Phone calls and hope that you're not number 25 in the line.
Well, a lot of times that goes pretty fast, and it's really kind of funny because you get on there.
The minutes.
You're going to be your caller number, whatever. You'll be caller number 25.
You have 6 minutes to wait.
And it was like, what? I'm caller 25, and then it'll be your caller number 21, and it was like everybody hung up, and it's like, this is great.
No, I like the one that tells you the minutes.
You're caller 27, and it was like, what? I was just 25, 21, and now I'm 27.
I've got the minutes, and the same thing's happened. You have 7 minutes to wait. Your wait is now 6 minutes. Your wait is 10 minutes. Like, what? Apparently somebody had lots of questions, and it was taking the person's time.
Oh, it happens. But yeah, the phone calls, have patience.
Yeah.
Have patience.
And
because
keep copies of your referrals. Anything that they send you. I'm going to advise, put together a folder, a binder, an accordion carrier, something for anything and everything for your VA, and organize the living daylights out of it so that you have things at your fingertips. If anything comes across as a question, either from the VA saying that you didn't have something that you got at your fingertips, oh, wait a minute, yes, I do. Or if there's questions on what's covered, you can access the documents that were sent to you without tearing your house apart going, oh no, did I throw that away? No, I save everything.
And then track your appointment details. I actually put out on my calendar every appointment that we have, what the appointment is for. I know it's kind of
I don't do it.
I do it on my calendar.
I don't have I have a notepad that I put things down.
My calendar has come in handy because we were in a doctor's office once, and they were saying, well, when did whatever? Let me look. Oh, yes, look right here.
Yeah,
and I can give dates and details. And
I don't use the calendar on my phone. I don't trust it. I barely trust the alarm clock on my phone, okay? So if things aren't feling like they're right, just do a little bit of follow-up on for yourself, and if something's feeling off, you got to follow up, whether that has to do with the care that you're receiving, how you're feeling after the care, or just the process itself that you have questions about.
Yeah, if you have always call. Yeah. Pick up that phone. That's what they're there for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what your tax dollars are paying for.
Exactly. And don't ignore bills.
Yeah, don't ignore bills.
Verify them, because you know what? They do charge a copay for prescriptions.
Yes, and that's not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
Goes back to priority groups.
See, we do have on ours.
We do. We have
it's
on ours.
$8 a prescription.
Yeah. But again, that goes back towards the priority groups. So go back and find that video. And that'll give you a little bit of information. But if you do receive a bill, don't panic.
No.
But you're not going to ignore that either. No. Make some phone calls. Sometimes it is where it came from, and that happened to us.
Yes.
We had a bill from a hospital, and they coded something incorrectly on the bill, and it was just a matter of telling them, you need to put this code in and run it back through. And that's
our experience was that we had to go to an emergency room thing, and for whatever reason, information didn't get carried all the way through at the hospital, and they billed us for it.
Yeah.
And it was a phone call to the community care, and they're like, oh, nope, all you have to do is, and what actually ended up happening is they didn't even have me go through and do it. The people at community care said, we'll if you could give me this, that, and the other thing. They contacted the provider, and they had them fix the whole thing. I didn't even have to make phone calls and drive myself crazy.
I don't even remember if I had to tell them. I don't recall.
But even if you do, all you have to, you make a phone call to the billing office, and you tell them, hey, this should have been billed. It was directed to me, and erroneously it should be billed to, and you provide them with the actual
done incorrectly. This is where it needs to go.
Yes.
No big deal. So there you go. So why community care?
Well, it's going to expand your access to physicians.
Yep. It also reduces your travel burden.
You'll get your care is going to be expedited.
Yeah.
Speed it up.
Speeds it also supports the continuity of care too.
So, and it gives you veterans a little bit more flexibility, but it does require understanding the process. We can't stress that enough.
Yeah. So we hope that this helped you to understand that process a little bit better, but we do have a question for you. Have you ever used community care?
So comment, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff below.
Yeah, because we'd like to know.
Yeah.
The VA system does have more options than most people realize. Community care is one of them.
Right.
But like anything, this system is all about understanding.
It's just knowing how it works, because that's going to make all the difference in the world.
It is. So there you go. Coffee's on. Chaos managed. That's Couch Talk.